The integration of arts. 4. Integration between music and performing arts. 4.3. Musical theater. By Philip Chier. Musical theater, or simply musical, is a form of theater performance that combines song, spoken dialogue, acting and dance. The story and emotional content of the musical, humor, sadness, love, anger, are communicated as a whole through the words, music, movement and technology of entertainment. Although musicals overlap with other theatrical forms, such as opera and dance, compared to dialogue, action, and other elements, the equal emphasis on music is different from them. Book musicals. The original musicals were shows with irrelevant songs and dances. Since the 20th century, book musical has been defined as a musical play where songs and dances are fully integrated into the elaborate story, with a serious and dramatic goal that can arouse people's emotions instead of just being funny. Musicals are usually performed in 2 acts, with a short intermission. The first act is usually longer than the second. The first act usually introduces almost all characters and most music, and usually ends with dramatic conflict or complicated plot. The second act may introduce a few new songs, but it usually involves the reprise of important musical themes and resolves conflicts or complexity. Usually, the entire musical is produced around 4 to 6 main theme songs, which will be repeated later in the performance. Spoken dialogue are usually interspersed between musical numbers, although sung dialogue or recitative may be used. In a book musical, ideally make songs to suit the character, or multiple characters, and their situation in the story. Musicals usually spend more time on music rather than dialogue. Within the compressed nature of musicals, writers must develop characters and plots. American musical theater. Showboat.
The 1927 musical Showboat was composed by Jerome Kern, and lyrics by Oscar Hammerstein II.
Hammerstein also wrote the script, which is a serious story involving topics such as racism and racial discrimination.
Showboat marks a first step towards maturity and development of musical theater. This musical tells the lives of performers, stage performers and dock workers on the Mississippi River. Showboat Cotton Blossom from 1887 to 1927 for 40 years. Its themes include racial prejudice and tragic, lasting love. West Side Story. From the first note to the last breath, West Side Story is one of the most memorable musicals and the greatest love stories ever. Leonard Bernstein's music and Stephen Sondheim's lyrics are recognized as the most outstanding works of all time. The greatest love story in the world takes to the streets in this landmark Broadway musical. This is one of the most outstanding achievements of the theater. Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet was transformed into 2 young, in modern New York City. Idealistic lovers find themselves caught in fighting street gangs between the American Jet Gang and the Puerto Rican Shark Gang. They fight to survive in a world full of hatred. Violence and prejudice are one of the most innovative methods.
European musical theater.
The Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom of the Opera is not just a benchmark musical, but a landmark one. It has become the longest musical ever performed on Broadway, For more than 2 decades, Weber's mass musical has attracted audiences in more than 9,000 performances in the West End. Not to mention the countless travel companies that spread the Phantom Mania around the world.
Les Misérables. Les Misérables
is the longest performing musical in the world. It is a true modern classic based on Victor Hugo's novel, with one of the most memorable music in history. In France in the 19th century,
Jean Valjean
was released from 19 years of unjust imprisonment, but he could find nothing but mistrust and abuse. He broke the parole and hoped to start a new life. The police inspector,
Javert,
pursued him tirelessly and launched a lifelong struggle for salvation. He refuses to believe that Valjean can change his way. Finally, during the Paris student uprising of 1832, Javert saw Valjean spared his life and saved student revolutionists who attracted Valjean's adopted daughter. His worldview collapsed, Javert committed suicide, and Valjean finally gained the peace he had sought for so long.
Les Misérables
is epic, magnificent and uplifting. It is full of emotional impact and attracts audiences from all over the world.